Yeah, let's see what I can find. Hopefully it will be good. Okay, I found one that pertains to Bob Ross, and it's a article that I found on Reddit, and it's based off of the supposedly the beginner's guide. Bless me. Excuse me. Okay, it's loaded here. Let's see. Here goes. And it's the based off of the beginner's guide, like I said. But here goes. Because maybe you were watching The Joy of Painting and you're feeling inspired, but you don't know where to start. Hi, I'm certainly glad you could join us today. What I thought we'd do today is have a fantastic little beginner's guide and really set up a resource for new artists who are looking to paint along with Bob Ross and experience the joy of painting. Please read this guide before asking me a question. I always answer, but you can save yourself the wait. Now let's get started. I recommend that everyone who has never painted before should first watch Grandeur of Summer. Between the 4 and 10-minute marks, here Bob Ross explains exactly what each tool is and how to set up a white canvas. Even if you choose not to do that painting, it is invaluable information. Picking a starting point. The first one, I won't list them all off, but the first one is an episode that was on VHS supposedly, and the title was Grandeur of Summer, and the number of colors is 13, and the brushes that he used was a 1 inch flat, 2 inch flat, fan linear, and a knife. The complexity for that one was from 1 to 5, being at a 1, and it gives a YouTube link, but I won't get to that until maybe some other time in some other video. But the rest the rest of what it says goes like this. I'm measuring complexity using the number of colors, the number of tools, the setup, and my own experience with these paintings. I have personally completed each of these 6 episodes and many others, and found them to be fairly representative of their respective difficulty levels. I'm not just guessing based on pictures, but your results may still vary. Unless you choose to do Grandeur of Summer, he really capitalizes on that extra 30-minute episodes with mountains and slash or waterfalls tend to be 3 seconds or harder. Try a few things that look more basic until you get a feel for the medium. I strongly suggest you avoid black canvas paintings until you have done a few white canvas paintings. Color shows up differently on a black canvas based on the opacity of the paint. It's just not worth worrying about until you get the hang of the style. Gearing up. For a new painter, the Master Paint set, a cheap canvas, and odorless mineral spirits will do you pretty well. Most everything can be found online, so don't be afraid to look around. Find an episode that you want to do first, watch it completely, and then get the materials that he used for that painting. Once you know how he composes that episode's painting, you can paint along with him, pausing as needed. Some episodes rely heavily on uncommon colors, others use just 2 or 3 basic colors or basic tools. I mean, here's what this person listed off in this article: 18 by 24 stretched double primed canvas, but any similar aspect ratio will work. I use this for practicing. Palette knife, 2 inch flat, a typical natural bristled brush, fan brush, firm natural bristled, script liner brush, soft synthetic hair, bucket slash trash can, odorless mineral spirits, the transparent kind, not the milky environmental friendly kind, palette, paper plates work fine, paper towels, drop cloth, and old clothes. Other useful tools that this person listed off in this article saying refined or cold pressed linseed oil, 1 inch flat, a typical firm bristled brush, round brush larger, check Bob Ross's website. 4 filbert brush, hard natural, bristle, rarely used, black let me rephrase this. Black gesso slash white gesso, most common paint colors: phthalo blue, sap green, Van Dyke brown, dark burnt sienna, yellow ochre, cadmium yellow, pale hue, alizarin, uh, alizarin, permanent red, crimson, titanium white, liquid slash magic white, and to a lesser extent, phthalo green, Indian yellow, burnt umber, black, bright cadmium red hue, liquid magic clear. If you feel compelled to buy Bob Ross brand paint and brushes, expensive but good, I hear that Hobby Lobby carries them. Michaels and Johans do not. Lots of artists recommend Hogs hair brushes and hate nylon brushes. I consider nylon a meh budget option for this style, The reflections come out looking really bad, but it works decently well for every other technique. Taklon are soft bristled synthetic brushes that are mostly used for acrylics. Soft synthetic brushes smear the paint more than a firm hog's hair or nylon brush. Heads up, this may not be a desired effect outside of seascapes and reflections. Cleaning your brushes. Regardless of whether you're using natural hair brushes or synthetic brushes, you're going to be cleaning them in odorless mineral spirits. I use an empty paint can with a folded up piece of wire mesh in the bottom. Don't forget to beat the devil out of your brushes. It's an important step, even if it looks silly. Don't wash natural hairbrushes with soap and water unless you are planning on walking away from them for a while. If that's the case, rinse them in something like linseed oil or sunflower oil to disperse the pigment first. Then wash gently with soap and water. Preparing a white canvas. I think the biggest tip that I can give you for actually painting is to be careful with using too much liquid white. Usually, when Bob Ross starts a painting, he already has covered the 18 by 24-inch double primed gesso canvas with a very thin coat of this white paint. If you have a canvas with this too wet, too much liquid white, almost none of the techniques will work. When you use liquid white, you'll almost always need to wipe off the canvas with a paper towel or a clean, dry brush. Gently and evenly, most beginners skip that step because it isn't really mentioned in most of the videos. With a few exceptions, so long as you aren't scrubbing the canvas dry, it should keep what it needs for this style to be successful. Alternatively, you could just muscle a thin coat of titanium white across your canvas. Preparing a black canvas. Either buy a black canvas or evenly coat a white one with at least one coat of black gesso. I personally don't like to paint the edges with black gesso until I finish the painting and I've let it dry. If he uses a liquid clear, he'll tell you. Apply it the same way you would apply liquid white, sparingly. I use a linseed oil in place of liquid clear as a cost-cutting measure and have experienced no ill effects. Scrub in a transparent paint color as needed, starting with the brightest colors, ending with the darker ones. Yellow to red to blue to green to brown. This step is a lot easier with liquid oil, clear/oil on the canvas, but it usually isn't necessary. If you aren't sure what colors are transparent enough for this method, try a little bit of paint on a corner of the canvas. It looks blackish, it's good enough. Next, blend the colors together with little X strokes, Then take a clean dry brush and slowly go across the canvas in one direction horizontally, then one direction vertically. Make sure you have coated all of the places you need paint, because you can't go back once you start putting in bright, opaque colors. Don't leave any clumps of color. Remember, this is supposed to be a very thin coat of paint. Generic tips. Thin paint sticks to thick paint. Similar terminology you may read is fat over lean. Same idea. Fat paint that has a lot of stuff in it with stick to lean paint. That is straight from the tube, worth mentioning. Do your best to seriously make sure your brushes are dry before you go back to your palette. It doesn't take much paint thinner to make a painting unworkable. If you mess up, you can literally just scrape out the paint you don't like. Then try again. Be careful, you might need to reapply that super thin coat of liquid white. Sometimes it's easier to scrub a canvas and start over than to fix a cloud. Check out the episode Happy Little Accents for more discussion about fixing a paint that isn't coming out. If a painting is dry, you can still put color on top of it. Wet on dry is definitely a thing. This has the added benefit of allowing you to gently remove new layers of wet paint without doing much damage to the under layers. Avoid trying to touch up a painting that is mostly but not completely dry. It can be a huge pain in the ass. Just have fun. Don't throw away your first painting, no matter how much you may think it sucks. If anyone has any comments or suggestions for this post, please let me know. From all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless you, my friend. Well, that's what one person posted. It's a long one, but it's interesting if you really think about it. And it has a lot of history to it. But I hope you guys enjoyed that little quick topic discussion. But now let's get back to Minecraft. I'm currently working on building a log cabin. It's not going so good, but hopefully it'll look great in the end, because I'm not done with it yet. But hopefully you guys can enjoy it. Now for our next topic.